What's good, YouTube? Welcome back to the Stock Hustle channel with your boy William. Today is Tuesday, November 30th, 2021. As always, guys, nothing that is discussed on the channel is financial advice. I'm simply providing people financial education and I hope they will then use to understand you don't have to slave in a 9 to 5 if you don't want to. You can easily hustle 24/7 in the stock market and still accomplish all those financial goals you have set for yourself. As with anything else in life, you're always going to get out whatever you choose to put in. So let's go ahead and put in some work today. But before we get started with the ticker for the day, I wanted to show you guys a real quick trading trick. Some of you may know it, some of you may not. You can go ahead on your charts. If you use Thinkorswim, TradingView, Webull, whatever. This applies to all platforms. Add yourself a 200 EMA and a 200 MA, right? So you have a 200 exponential moving average and a 200 moving average, right? Go on a 15-minute time period. I try to teach my students this as a quick entry tip. When you're in a 15-minute time period, if you are trading above both of those MAs, the 200 EMA and the 200 MA, generally speaking on a 15-minute chart, you will have a green day. If you are trading below it, you will have a red day. This works like clockwork for any ticker just about every single time. Literally, it's a fact. Again, you can check me on it, try it out. Again, set you a 200 EMA and a 200 MA on your chart. Go to a 15-minute chart. If you are trading above both of those moving averages, generally speaking, you will have a green day in the market that day. In days like today, that comes in super, super handy. As you guys did see in the market today, it was a stupid bloody day for just about everything in the market. I don't know why my computer is running so slow, but as you can see, other than Apple, maybe Tesla and Pfizer and a couple of tickers in the Russell, everything else was about blood red. But we're not going to talk about that today. This is a review video for a ticker that was dropped to me or requested by one of my subscribers. This ticker is RIVN, otherwise known as Rivian Automotive Incorporated. Officially going public on November the 10th and trading, as you see here, since November the 10th, reaching a peak essentially of 178 before it fell back down to earth. Currently trading directly right under the 121 point of resistance that it's kind of touched with already a couple different times and been rejected from. As of today, it was trading at ended the day at 119.76, down 0.01% or otherwise losing a cent. So I've been doing a lot of research on this company. I actually pulled up a prospectus specifically for Rivian that I found access to, trying to dig through it to try to get you guys as much information as possible. But then I remembered something that occurred back when I got sick with COVID. I did a lot of research on companies. I don't know why. That's just what I chose to do on that time that I was in quarantine, basically. And one of these companies that I actually dug into was Rivian. When I was doing some research on Rivian, I actually stumbled upon a documentary that actually showcased vehicle number 1, so VIN number 00001, and VIN number 00002, right? If you want to watch that documentary, I highly recommend it to you. It's called The Long Way Up. These two trucks, serial number 1 and 2, along with two electric, excuse my throat, two electric Harley Davidsons, went from Argentina all the way up to Los Angeles. I think it's like 13 countries, 13,000 miles, 100 days, right? And they fully tested out and beat up these trucks. I'm going to show you a quick little video so you guys can kind of see what I'm talking about.
We don't need no stinking phone calls. We got work to do. We got an email. We want 2 electric vehicles to film this amazing series, Long Way Up. We want you to be a part of it.
What are we up to? 6,600? There we go. So, yeah. And we've got about that to go again. It's going to be still quite the adventure. I can't really predict exactly what we're going to face because that is the great unknown.
This incredible journey from South America up to LA.
I am so excited that they have license plate and they are on public roads. It's win number 1, the first car which is truly registered for Rivian.
We built this vehicle to get some early durability testing. It looks and feels somewhat like production, but is very early and somewhat prototypey. When you give it full throttle, it is like 4 seconds to 80.
In the production vehicle, will have more power and more torque to go even faster.
100 days of driving, 13 countries, 13,000 miles, wide open spaces. There are a bunch of wild horses. We just pulled up next to them, and it's a completely silent vehicle just sitting there idling, but there's no idle because you're an electric vehicle. One of the biggest challenges is charging. We built out a charging network throughout this route of South and Central America so that you can do this. We're really happy to be showing people that you can have an adventure in some of the most remote places imaginable. Wow. This place is amazing.
The testing is going really well. We're getting lots of data to understand what's happening, specifically with the battery, suspension, and chassis components. How can we get the car to act and react better?
We've taken all of that data, we've put it into the vehicles that we're going to have out to customers next year.
I mean, we're all familiar with a lot of electric vehicles on the road today, but there is nothing sort of doing what this vehicle is embarking on right now.
We've got sand, we've got rock, these washboard roads, constant go, 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 go for, 90 plus miles.
It's all going to create a better product at the end of the day, because this is a pretty epic adventure, and if they can get through this, I think they'll get through pretty much anything.
I don't know, the fact that we're out here getting to do this and show the vehicles are capable, it's a pretty sweet day at the office.
And that is the video. So let me first start off by saying I'm a big gearhead. I love and admire a lot of vehicles. I am super bullish on EV vehicles specifically. I remember watching this documentary and seeing a lot of the tech that this truck could do, being pretty impressive. Unfortunately, some of the tech that was showcased in that documentary, again, the long way up. Again, these trucks went from Tierra del Fuego, Argentina, which is like the southernmost point of Argentina, and they went north all the way up the coast, all through South America, Central America, Mexico, and into the United States, all the way to LA, with literally on a charging grid that they built out for this documentary, specifically, number one. And number two, they showcased a charging feature of the truck, which was tow charging. Now, when I started digging through the prospectus and digging through their website, I could not find anything about tow charging. So I'm not sure if they did that just for the documentary to have that capability because they figured it was going to be challenging in some of those really remote countries. Because again, some of these countries aren't very developed, especially not with an electrical grid. So I'm assuming they did that specifically just for the documentary because again, I cannot find it anywhere on their website. I've dug through this website now for almost 5 to 6 days, trying to get as much information as possible on this truck. So I'm pretty familiar with it at this point. I know that they have an estimated EPA of 314 miles for the SUV. It's 316 miles, right? Depending on your configuration, right? Like the performance, right? They can rock crawl. They can go at 100% grade, which I find almost impossible to do, but apparently it's documented. They've driven and done test courses through Utah, the Trans-American Highway, which is a basically all off-road long way across the United States, they've done as well. I wasn't aware of that, so I started digging through their website. Safety features are pretty safe. The way they're built, this tunnel on the back, on the front axle, on the front of the back axle is a pretty neat feature for a truck. Never seen that designed. In the documentary, as you saw, it looked like it had a motor in the front. But on these vehicles that are now coming out of production, you have a frunk, which is a front trunk, right? You have a bed in the back. You have panoramic roof. It has a Meridian sound system. It has dual screens. It does have self-driving. However, I don't think their capabilities are as advanced as Tesla's are at this point, right? I know the warranty comes with a 5-year, 60,000-mile warranty, and then you get an 8-year, 175,000-mile warranty on the powertrain and the battery specifically. You get a corrosion warranty for anyone who lives up north, right? And you have to deal with salts. There's a lot of cool features about this truck. Now, some of my concerns, right, specifically with the truck. One of the main concerns that I found was charging, right? So throughout here, you'll go through this website and it talks a lot about the cool parts of the truck, right? and a lot of specifics like what it can do, what it can't do, right? And you see that it actually talks about a power grid being built out, right? But not being currently available, because again, it still has to be built out. So one of my primary concerns with this company specifically is that they're biting off a little bit more than what I think they can chew, just specifically because they have a contractual agreement to build out 100,000 last mile delivery trucks for Amazon. They're taking on the truck and they're taking on the SUV specifically, plus building out a power grid. So for a new company starting off, that just seems like a lot. As you guys can see, there are 3 different models that you can get in the truck specifically. Without having a power grid or fast charging, the charging capabilities obviously are not as desirable. Specifically when you go looking into the charging just for this truck, right? And we can go look at this grid real quick. They have a map. So this is what they have planned to do, a charging grid specifically, or fast charging network specifically for Rivian. Where was it? Oh, right here. We're building a nationwide network, right? We are building, to me, implies it's not done yet, right? Specifically, and it says it's capable of adding up to 140 miles in 20 minutes on the R1 vehicle. I think with the SUV, it was 160 in 20 minutes, just because the SUV has a little bit bigger battery, I believe, because it doesn't have a bed in the back. Obviously, it's all confined within inside of the truck. Right, so it talks about the 3500 DC charge, approximately 600 sites in the US and Canada by the end of 2023. So you have to think, when you first start getting this truck in 2022, 2023, right, you're going to have to kind of be on your own for a little while when it comes to fast charging. So your range might be limited to either a mobile charger or your home charger, right, specifically, right? So I went digging to see what capabilities that has. And needless to say, I'm a little concerned. It is a concern for me, right? Again, I did some digging against Tesla. As you see, I have 2 tabs up here I'll get to in a minute for Tesla specifically, just because, again, the charging is kind of... I figured it would be better than what it is, right? Which kind of makes me wonder now, when they did the documentary, how the hell did they do this? Because it seems almost improbable. And the reason I'm saying that is because, as you see right here, it comes with the standard Rivian plug-in on both 240 volt outlet, right? Delivering 16 miles charge for every hour. That's 20 hours at that rate, right? For 314 or 316 miles. That means your truck has to charge 20 hours just so that you can travel, or right, have a fully charged truck essentially to go the 314. So I don't even understand how this trip was done from South America. As I mentioned in the documentary, you'll see they hook up to a bunch of semis if you happen to watch it. And they do this tow charging, right, where they get towed and it fast charges the truck. I'm not sure how that worked or how that was made to happen. Again, I cannot find that anywhere on this website or in their prospectus at all specifically. So their prospectus is here, right? So I've been digging through this thing for essentially a couple, like, I want to say 5 days, right? As you see, I have some highlighted areas we can look at specifically, kind of talking about their growth potential and what they're looking to accomplish, right? How much money they're looking to assimilate or acquire within the first couple of years of business. Probably one of the main things that I look for specifically when it comes to prospectuses with any new or IPO company, right? And we can do this real quick. One of the main things that I specifically look for, you can do Command F on an Apple. You want to look up something called lockup, right? Now, different companies listed different ways, right? In Rivian's prospectus, it's listed as lock-up, and I'm going to leave this attached in the details of my video, right? So that you guys can see it. So what you want to look for in a prospectus is you want to know, like, for the original investors that are in, who are issued shares prior to it IPOing, how long do they have before they can sell? Well, as you can see right here, the lockup agreement, 180 days after the date of this prospectus without first obtaining the prior written consent of a representative on behalf of the underwriters, right? So from November the 10th, 2021, they have essentially till May the 10th, 2022. That is when the lockup period will expire, and they will be able to essentially sell all of these shares, right? Which, if you want to know how many shares were issued, I actually found that as well. So it talks about their TAM. Again, I'm going to leave this attached to the details of my video because it'll take me just 30 to 40 minutes just talking about this, right? Alone. Rivian does offer their own financing internally, which I thought was pretty interesting. I think that's tied a little bit to the base price of their vehicles because their vehicles are pretty expensive, kind of like Tesla. Their vehicles range anywhere from base 80,000 and up, right? I built one out myself, like the features I would want on a truck specifically, and it came out to like $87,000, I believe. So they do offer their own financing. Where was that section? Here we go. Shares issued, right? So as you see, these were shares issued to the board members specifically, and then down below we have shares issued to Amazon and Ford, and it is a significant amount of shares. Let me just put it that way. Where is that breakdown? Here we go. So Amazon currently holds 86 million shares. Ford has 65 million shares. We have T. Rowe Price holding 46 million shares. Ford has an additional opportunity to pick up an additional 29 million shares. Manheim Investments has 38 million shares, and Global Oryx has 31 million shares. Again, the lockup period will expire on May the 10th, 2022, which is 180 days essentially from when it IPO'd, right? So that's usually the only thing I really look for in a prospectus. Obviously, there's not going to be any revenue generated. I did think this was pretty cool that they do have Amazon Web Services specifically, like for their downloading features on their truck and their cloud services. Now, a big distinction from this, from Rivian and Tesla. Tesla does all their in-house downloads, right, on their own systems. So you have to think, for Rivian, they're essentially held to Amazon Web Services performance. Now, Amazon Web Services is probably one of the best cloud services out there that you can get, but still, like, again, it's not in-house, something that's managed in-house. So you have to think, if the relationship between Rivian and Amazon were to sour per se, right, this could be potentially a liability against Rivian. So you have to think both the pros and the cons, right? I'm not here to bash Rivian. I think it's a pretty dope truck. I think the fact that it was able to do that trip across 13,000 miles on a grid that they built out alone is impressive. The fact that it's done that Trans-American Highway on its own, again, is very impressive. I believe this is a well built out truck, right? I think it's going to have a very bright future, but I'm just concerned about a couple things. Number one, the issuance of shares and how much they issue to Amazon, Ford, T. Rowe Price, and some of the original investors, and that lockup period expiring. And essentially, you have that many shares being unloaded into the market at once could literally tank a share price. And they actually talk about it here, not having the ability to restrict that or stop that or prevent that, which can affect their share price. So they are trying to be as transparent as possible with people in the prospectus. But it's just something for you to know if you are a new investor looking to invest in Rivian. That is something that you need to be aware of when it comes to investing, right? So, as I mentioned, the charging, the lockup period were my two biggest concerns. I did a little comparison, right? Tesla obviously has supercharging, as you can imagine. And as you see on their superchargers, you can get 175 miles in 15 minutes, right? Huge difference. They don't have anything about a mobile charger on Tesla's website. I don't have a Tesla yet. I do have one ordered specifically. For those of you who do not know, I did order a Cybertruck. So I will let you know once I have that, but that is still a ways away, right? But on their website, it doesn't talk anything about a mobile charger and the abilities you get per hour or per charging. If anybody has a Tesla and you want to leave it down in the comments below, let us know, because that would be pretty interesting to know how much you can get in an hour of charging at home. I'm trying to see a comparison essentially from Rivian to Tesla. I just wanted to get an apples to apples. I wanted to Google it, but the answers were all over the place, and it wasn't something that I could verify. So I figured the best way I can do this is just to ask a Tesla owner. If anyone is watching, just leave it down in the comments below. It'll definitely help anybody watching this video understand that, right? Additionally, some of the additional bullish signs that I did see for Rivian. Obviously, there's no price targets yet, as it is a new company that just IPO'd, but under Marketbeat, they do track insider trades, and as you do see, as of mid-November, a few days after IPOing, the CFO, the CEO, and directors did pick up shares specifically, so that's another really bullish sign anytime you are investing in a new company that is just IPO'd, right? Obviously, I went pulling the flow for Rivian because, again, this is my favorite tool to use anytime you're looking at options. Obviously, I would be very precautious buying options on a new IPO because, again, there isn't that much readily available information out there, and there is a lot of things that can make it liable to certain situations. So just please invest precariously, right? Or manage your risk accordingly, right? But as you see from the flow breakdown, looking at a $25,000 premium, looking at Rivian specifically, you see that the excuse me, the strikes that automatically stand out are January 2022 and January 2023 being the biggest bullish. As you see, the most bullish strikes are the 150 and the 200. The 115 does have some money on it specifically, but you do see that the 120 is more bearish than bullish specifically. So in the short term, you may see a lot of volatility. Again, this stock has a lot to prove. Again, remember, they're building a grid or electrical grid network across Canada and the United States specifically. They're going to be delivering 100,000 last mile delivery vehicles to Amazon. They are designing and building the R1T, and they're also designing and building their first SUV. They are taking all these projects on at the same time while having just gone public, right? And they're already being thrown out there with some crazy market cap targets. Just there's a lot of information to take in with this company. So anyone that's looking to invest, I would say the best bet is dollar cost average and accumulating shares right now while the price is low. As you can clearly see, the price wants to maintain up in this upper 100 range, from even though we've had a couple pullbacks this past Friday with the Omicron variant release, Monday having a bounce back, and then today we had another bloody day. You see that the price has pretty much managed to stay up towards that 120 or the upper 115s specifically. So I would say dollar cost averaging is probably the best outlook for you if you are looking to invest in Rivian. Me personally, I'm going to be keeping a close eye on Rivian. I am not going to establish a position at this time yet. I definitely want to see how these relationships with Ford and Amazon keep on going. I already heard news that Ford was looking to pull out potentially. Again, I can't verify that because I read a couple different stories. One saying yes, one saying no. So I don't want to mention it to details again because I need to be able to verify any information I'm willing to put out on my channel. But again, I will be watching closely. If an opportunity does present itself where I see a major dip, where this does dip way below the 100s, that may be a little bit too tempting to not take advantage of. But as of now, I plan on not establishing a position until at least after that lockup period, which again is May 10th, 2022. But as always, guys, if you have questions, leave it down in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, as it does help with the YouTube algorithm. And as always, you can hit me up on Twitter or IG. Until then, guys, I'll catch you in the next one.